Hi guys, welcome. Figured that today I would give you a little bit of a presentation on creating your profile. And I just want to make sure that, oh, hello, happy Friday. Make sure I have all the screens ready to go. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. And if you follow me at all, or we're colleagues, you have probably seen this presentation. And of course, it's one of the signature trainings that I give, but you've probably seen a much longer version of this and not as detailed in the creating the profile section. But this is something that I talk about a lot with people, is how to create a profile that stands out, that really tells your story. So I'm super excited to give the rest of the LinkedIn world a little bit of a taste of what my presentation is like, and talk to you guys about how to create that profile. So let's go to the presentation. All right. So first things first, what makes up a good profile? Clear and concise descriptions. I think that is probably one of the things that I see the most, and probably why I put it first, is these kind of long-winded, long sentences, really just kind of bullet points. We really want to hear from you. It doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't have to sound like a dissertation. Especially for people that have really complicated backgrounds or whatnot. The biggest thing is making it clear and concise. That's, people are reading this and they're reading it on the fly too. So, and remember that, it's not like people are really sitting down to read something like an article. They're just scrolling. So I think making sure that all of your descriptions are clear and concise is important. The other piece is adding personality and authenticity in all aspects. So again, remember what we said in the very beginning, that LinkedIn is a personal branding tool. So the important part is to show your personal brand. It is an authenticity driven tool. So really important for your profile to have that personality, to have authenticity, to really show the world who you are. It's not the same thing as, a summary on a resume or anything along those lines. It's really you. Think about what you would say if you were meeting someone at a networking event. That's really what the profile is intended to do. In a sense, that's kind of oversimplifying it, but I think that's just a good way to look at it as you're trying to create your profile. The other piece is having professional pictures and a thoughtful background image. Again, I see a lot of people like with the cutout from like a Facebook photo of like where their partner or some parent is on the other side and that the half arm is cut out. It's really worth it to get professional photos. And a lot of times if you work for a company, they will have a session, once a year or something to update your headshot. And even if not, you can easily get a cheap headshot. A lot of photographers have like a quick headshot day, and you can really do it inexpensively. And I think that's really important. For the thoughtful background image, it doesn't have to be anything complicated. It really can be just another photo, or even a photo of something of your city, or just some sort of generic background image. I just wouldn't use the one that LinkedIn gives you, because that shows that you haven't put enough effort or thought into it. So really, the best thing you could do is create something in Canva, and I'll show you mine, that shows people who you are and what you do, but at a bare minimum, just having something beyond the not filling it in background image. So the headline is the piece underneath your name. It's 260 characters. And this is really giving people an instant understanding of who you are and what you do. This is a critical piece of the profile. I always joke that if you do nothing else, at least do the headline. That's not really true, but the headline is important because that's what people see when they are doing a search and your name comes up. So, super important to have that good headline. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Other tips, really making sure that all the sections are complete with keywords. And that's what I talked about last week too, is that, at the end of the day, LinkedIn, yes, is a personal branding tool, but it is also a search engine. It's a resume bank. It's a career tool. It is a directory of partners. So the more keywords that you're using, the more likely you are to be found, whatever your goal is, whatever reason you are on LinkedIn. And this next point goes back to my first point, that all your pieces of text are full sentences, first person narratives in the summary section, really no fragments or third person speak. And you may see certain people have that third person speak. But I firmly believe that having your summary, your about section in first person is really the key, because people are trying to get to know you, and they can't get to know you if you're talking in the third person, if you're treating it like, your bio on your resume is really an opportunity to show people who you are. So that's why I feel very strongly that it is a first person narrative and it's full sentences. We also want to see on your profile regular engagement and activity. Again, that's showing people that you are really engaged and active and you are on the platform. That's really what I'm looking for, is people that are on the platform that I know are utilizing LinkedIn, because then I know you are thoughtful and you are interested in getting to know me, and you are not just pulling my name from a search. When you have that regular engagement and activity and you've put thought into your profile, I'm much more inclined to want to connect or partner with you. That's not to say that having no profile filled out is a terrible thing at all. Obviously, that's why you're here, because you're trying to fill it in. I just think that if you are really trying to use LinkedIn as a tool to grow your business, your career, having regular engagement and activity shows that you are actually dedicated to it, and not just popping on because someone told you, hey, LinkedIn is a great place. You're putting that care and effort into it. And then also the other thing is having and giving recommendations, which I'll talk a little bit about too. But the recommendations piece, again, just shows that you have given care and thought into your profile. By giving recommendations, you are showing that you are a good business person and career person by sharing love with other people. And obviously, receiving recommendations shows that you're really good at what you do. And that's huge, whether you are an entrepreneur like me or in a career. Having those recommendations, it's an easier way to show how good you are at what you do, rather than someone picking up the phone, giving your client a call, or calling your references. This is a nice way. So that's the makeup of a good profile. And then I'm going to go to the next page. So this is mine, and I just thought I would analyze it a little bit for you guys. So you can see I have this professional headshot in professional attire. And this is, if you are a person that works in the field, or you, are an artist or something, your professional attire may look different than mine. I'm not saying you necessarily have to have a suit jacket on like I do, but just something that is, nice and clean. And again, not cut off someone else's arm cut off from a, wedding photo from 10 years ago. This is the background I'm talking about. I quickly made this in Canva for myself, but I, highly recommend either hiring someone like our design partner to create one for you, or going in yourself and doing it. I just have my logo and then 4 things that I want people to know about myself. And then another photo again. So it's just that quick snapshot of who you are and what you do, and just that another again neutral photo. Things to remember is that down here on that left-hand side, don't put any text because your photo will cover it. I see that a few times. I would just do quick little bullet points. Always tough when someone has like long, lengthy sentences, and it's just distracting too. So I would do something like this, or even if I just had my logo and not the bullet points, or truly even just this photo, this background image that I got in Canva, I think would work better than having nothing at all. What else? So then this is my headline, and you'll see this little speaker, and that's, you can add your name pronunciation. So that's kind of cool. It is 20 seconds. I don't know about you, but it takes me about 1 second to say my name. So I added a little like, hey, how you doing? I'm Lauren Perna. Totally up to you, but just a nice little way to show people who you are. You can also add a video to your profile. Instead of having this image, you can have it as a video. Totally up to you. I'm not there yet, but maybe one day. And then here we go. This is the other piece that I wanted to point out. So the contact info is how people are going to reach out to you aside from the platform. So if you would rather keep people to contacting you right on the platform, then by all means, keep it as simple as possible. However, I'm a business owner. I want to get in touch with as many people as possible. So I'm going to put as much information as I feel comfortable. Probably maybe not my phone number, but definitely my business email, my business website, and some of my other social media links. I really want people to know how to get in touch with me. And I am willing to take the kind of risk of annoying people reaching out to me and just hit the delete button in my email. I understand not everyone is willing to do that. So for me, it's okay to take that, kind of good with the bad by having my information out there. But so again, that's really just kind of up to you. So that's the kind of big piece of the website, and now the profile. So now thinking about your headline. As I said, the headline is truly the most important piece. In my opinion, I think everything's important, but if you're going to do one thing today, really think about your headlines. Again, like everything else, the key headline is keyword searchable. So when you are thinking about the words to use, think about the words that your ideal client, connection, or job would use when searching for you. It's not necessarily the words that you would use to describe yourself. It's the words that they would use to describe you. Also, a quick tip, the first few words are the most important of the headline, because that is what you can see if someone copies and pastes your link, and you can see a link preview. And in general, the first few words are what you can see when you're doing any sort of search. So make those count for sure. Those should be the first thing you want people to know about you. As I said, make sure any words in the background image don't get cut off by your profile picture, especially because when it's optimized for mobile, it all gets cut off. So really keeping, the text all the way to the right, like you see in this gentleman's photo here. And if you have a creator account, you can add the hashtag of the topics that you want to talk about. And that's, again, you will show up in more searches. And you can see I pulled these two examples because, again, I like how this gentleman has his text off to the right, and he has some images of companies he spoke with. And then this woman helps people learn how to public speak. So I thought this photo is a beautiful representation of her job. So those are just some hot tips for headlines. And now really thinking back, just going back to this page, the whole profile really just needs to tell that story of who you are and what you do. And the about section is 2,600 characters, which is actually significant. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen, and then I'll share my profile so we can kind of walk through that a little bit too. So give me 1 second to stop this share. All right. Question from Brian, actually, before we go forward. How much content do you need to be creating to make it worth turning on creator mode? So the thing about creator mode is it really gives you the opportunity to do stuff like this. So I would say that I'm not paying to be a creator mode. I don't need to do anything specific to keep up creator mode. It just gives you a little bit of that opportunity. So I would definitely say if you're interested in it, check it out. You can turn it off if you feel like there's a reason that you don't need it. But honestly, it's just nice to have a few extra opportunities to get yourself out there. All right, so let's look at my profile while we are here, and then we can kind of walk through. Here we are. All right. So hopefully you guys can see my profile. Yeah, perfect. All right. So as you can see, this is the part that I screenshot and was highlighting things for you. And as you can see, there's like a direct link to my website. I have added my business and my alma mater, and these are just more ways that people can connect with you. All the time, LinkedIn reminds me of people from Fordham that I might want to connect with. So again, by adding more affiliations, you are really just adding more ways for yourself to be found. So just remember that, the more you're putting out there, the more you are able to be found. One thing I also wanted to address is, so I gave a presentation once, and, I talked about, this is 260 characters right here. I talk about using every single one as much as possible, to an extent. And somebody said, I don't like the way that looks. I think there's too many words. And here's the thing. Fine, you don't have to take my advice by any stretch. However, there is no difference. Just because you don't like the way it looks, that's your decision. But by adding more text, you are allowing yourself to be found. It doesn't really matter what it looks like. People are not going to your profile and thinking, gosh, that guy has a lot of text on his headline. That's not the point. It's not the point to look, short and sweet. The point is to add the words that describe you. And I don't think it looks messy. It's going to look messy if you have typos and whatnot. So just make sure you don't have typos. But other than that, there's really no argument against having more language on here. Again, because you're really giving people that look into what you, who you are and what you do. So let's scroll down a little bit. So here on this section is the featured section. So a little bit about this. These are either posts or articles or visuals that you can either pull from your profile, or you can add, and you just use this little add button. Now, these are just, for me, I've pulled posts of things that I've been featured in or articles that I wrote that I want to share as a way to show my community and my expertise. So again, that's where you're going to want to show off, again, who you are. And this is a great way for people to see how active you are on your website. I included a link to my video. I included posts. So really, this is just letting people know who I am in a more direct way. Here's that activity I talked about. And you can see that I am posting on the regular. And of course, not everyone needs to be posting as much as I do, but just to see something here, I think is important, whether it's simply a congratulations, but seeing that someone is active, that really does make a difference. And then here's the about. So the about section, as you can see, I have maximized pretty much all the characters. You don't have to do that. This is about 2,600 characters. It's a little long, but I like to keep mine in this sense so I can show people what the options are. I have a couple of different components of my profile that I like to use as examples when I'm writing for someone else. Usually, I think just a couple of paragraphs is fine. I would say that this main paragraph here is kind of your bread and butter, because right now, this is what people see before they have to hit the see more button. So I always tell people this first piece should really be the kind of, if you want them to leave knowing one thing, focus on this first sentence. And it does not have to replicate exactly what's in the headline. In fact, I would argue that it doesn't, and that you complement what's in the headline. And that's exactly what I've done here. So that's my biggest tip for the about section, is making sure that first sentence before the see more button really tells people who you are and is not totally duplicative of your headline. I always encourage using like bullet emojis, as it's a nice way to stop the scroll. And then as an entrepreneur, my calls to action are to go to my website, to send me a DM, to send me an email. If you are not self-employed, or your goal is just to connect with people, you don't have to put any of these things. You could truly just put send me a DM. I always encourage some sort of call to action, but I'm a marketer at heart, so you absolutely do not have to do that. Some people don't want that. I would argue that it can't hurt to just encourage people to DM you. You could always ignore it. So that's my thought there. And then you can pick your top skills. Now, the top skills, you can pick up to 50 skills, and then you can pick your top ones. So, of course, I picked the top skills that I want people to know about me. But, what happens is when you select those skills, other people can endorse you. So make sure you are picking skills that you want to be endorsed for, because the reality is, I got endorsed for Excel, which is great, but that's not my job. So I'd rather be endorsed for like writing, or like I said here, LinkedIn. So really making sure the top skills that you are selecting are the top skills that you want to be recognized for. And then obviously you don't see all 50 here. I picked the top 4 that I want shown on my page. So remember that these are my services as a self-employed entrepreneur. This is what I want people to be looking for me. Again, it's that SEO factor of LinkedIn, is really the searchability. So these are all the services that I offer. And then this is my experience section. I always encourage people to do just a few bullet points for each job that they've been at. And that's what you can see here for mine, if you keep scrolling. And then I always say, like, you don't need to put every single job on here, especially if it's not relevant. I worked for a long time at a sporting goods store. I'm not going to put that on there because it is just not relevant anymore. So just, think about that. When I see people with a million experiences, kind of like, you really don't need that. Again, my education, my licenses and certifications, all of my volunteering that I do. Again, those skills, which we already talked about. My recommendations received and given. The organizations that I'm a part of. And this is, my Women's Business League. I was in an Emerging Leaders program. So these are really organizations, like civic organizations or affiliation organizations, memberships. And then these are just my interests. So that's a little bit of a tour of the profile section. You can add more, you can switch up the order, you can really design this as you want. For me, what I help people focus on are these key points: the about, the headline, the experience section. And then I walk through all the other ways that they can maximize their profile. That's what, I do for people all the time. But hopefully today's tips helped you take a look and, really start thinking about how you can optimize your profile. And I'm going to stop sharing and go and see any other questions. No, no questions. Hopefully this is helpful, you guys. I am coming to you live from New Hampshire from our cabin, and I just want to wish you all a wonderful weekend, and hopefully you are having beautiful weather wherever you are and whatever that looks like for you. So thank you, everyone. Next week, we will do another screen share and we'll look at some other profiles. And we will do a good mix of people that work for themselves, people that are career oriented, people that are influencers, so we can really figure out, what works. Thanks so much, Lauren. Amazing. Walking through the profile was so helpful. Good. So glad. So join me next week for that. And the other cool thing is that next week, what we are also going to do is anyone that submits their profile to me between now and next Thursday night is going to be entered into a little giveaway where we are going to live edit your profile on LinkedIn Live next week. So it should be really fun. So submit your profile. All you have to do is send me a DM on LinkedIn or message me, Lauren at laurenperna.com, or my admin, Stephanie, will happily take your profile link to admin at laurenperna.com. So message us, tell us that you want to be entered into the giveaway. And what we will do is the night before, we will pick one or two people at random, prepare, and have your profile up on the screen. And then what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of a live editing session so we can help you create a better headline and give you some tips of how to create your about. Very important to send it ahead of time because we don't want to be pulling up someone that does not need our help. We want to show you what it's like to transform a profile. So if that's you, if you are sitting in this audience thinking, oh my God, I haven't done anything she said today, I am so ashamed. Do not be ashamed. Submit your profile to us. So again, send us a DM or an email, Lauren at laurenperna.com. And we can't wait to help one or two lucky winners. We'll see how much time we have and how many applications we get. All you got to do is just send us your link and say you're interested. So that's it, guys. Thank you. Yes, live free or die, the New Hampshire motto. That's where I'm up today. So have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you guys next week.